All right, so this next concept I want to share with you is called the creeping zero. So the creeping zero is a way of perspective to see how when we have expectations, that level of expectations makes a big difference on our level of satisfaction, or even if we can get satisfaction at all. So let's take a look at this. Let me get my whiteboard up and we'll go through that. Okay, so the creeping zero. So what happens is with expectation, if we look at this and we say that's a 0 and that's a 10, this is where the 0 belongs, right here. But oftentimes that 0 will creep up, clear up to here, and that becomes a problem. So let me explain that. If we say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those are not exactly the same, but you get the idea. So what happens is if we have expectations that this is the minimum standard right here at a 5, that when we perform at a 6, this is where we perform, and this is the expectation right here, then that to that is only a +1, okay? Ideally, if that 0 stays where it belongs, that is a +6. But when we expect that something is supposed to be perfect or near perfect, and that's a challenge for many people, is that they get into this perfectionistic perspective, is that if it's not a 10, it's not worth anything. And so even though a person might go clear up and they hit a 9, because it's not perfect, they see that as a -1. That becomes very problematic, especially in relationship, and how we judge ourselves is that we don't see things from the position where they belong. Even a 1 at this level, from 0 to 1, that's a +1. So it might be poor compared to the 9, yet it's still a +1. So let's rethink how we have expectations of things, and let's clarify that it's good to have expectations, but let's not have our judgment go from the level 9. But if we have expectations that it's not acceptable until 9, we can still, if we get to the 5 and we get to the 6, we can still be encouraging, saying, hey, that's a good job. We're at a 5, we're at a 6, we're making progress. Let's keep going. Let's add some more. And then we can have the +9, and then that will be satisfactory. But when we let that 0 clear up there, and it's not okay till it's a 9 to where that's okay, we hit the 9, okay. But if we see that from this point, that +9, that's awesome. So we can celebrate and see the positivity of that. Keep the 0 where it belongs here, and let's give credit where credit's due. If it's a +1, let's celebrate the beginning. A +2, that's even better. +3, and so on. So that +9, even though that's our expectation, let's celebrate that our expectation at a +9 is being met. And it's awesome, not okay, and not a -1 because it's not perfect. So we need to be easier on ourselves, more positive and supportive of each other. So I hope that makes sense and that you can apply that as you check yourself on your attitude toward things when your spouse does some effort. So a little story about that. My wife was training me how to do the dishes. And I mean, it's not like I didn't know how to do dishes. I did. And I've done many before I even met her. However, now that I was gone working and she was home taking care of the home front, that was her domain. And so as I came to assist, we'll go back to the top, I would wash the dishes, I put the dishes away, and that might be a +5. However, sadly or disappointedly, sometimes I did not put the silverware away correctly or in the right place, or some of the bowls I put in the wrong cupboard. At first, she would be frustrated and critical because she expected a 7 or an 8. And so that +5 looked like a -2 or a -3. And so that was discouraging to me. You know, I go to this effort, I do dishes, I put them away, and you're not happy about that? That was a challenge. So she accepted, and it was encouraging for me, where she said, thank you for helping do the dishes. Thank you for putting the dishes away. And I would appreciate it more if you also put them away correctly. If you can't figure it out and don't know where it belongs, ask me, and then put it away in the right place. And as I began to do that, I went past my 5 and I got a 7, 8, and I even got a 9. So now that felt to me like a +9. And at least it felt, if this was where she was at least it was a +4 and eventually a +9. So that made it much more enjoyable for both of us when I assisted in cleaning and doing dishes. Let's keep that 0 down where it belongs, and we'll all be better off. Thank you for being here for the Creeping 0. I hope that adds perspective for something to think about.